Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Tea, You and Me. We're going to get this party started, guys. I am super stoked and super hyped about the show we're going to deliver today for a ton of reasons, which I will tell you later. But I want to make sure that all of you who are logging in, who are following us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, feel free to share this post or any of the posts that we have already going anywhere you want to. I want you to make sure that you like it, give it a thumbs up, stay as engaged as possible because we're going to do some amazing things to rescue, support, deliver, and sustain as many small businesses as we possibly can all over the world. People plug in to see the show, and I am so thankful and grateful for the opportunity to bring this to you. Sometimes I have great guests and guest panelists. I call them my all-star panelists, right? That will come by and deliver some ideas and some thoughts to you all and share. We chop it up and have great conversation. And sometimes you get the luxury just hanging out with yours truly. My name is Coach Powell. I run Coach Powell Training Development, and I love everything small business. I'm into it in a big way, and I totally believe that small business is the opportunity for as many people as we possibly could get involved, get engaged, create support, create mechanisms to develop support. We got to be about that business because that's 50%, or actually more than 50% of the entire workforce, and over 90% of all businesses are small businesses. So anything we can do to support them is supporting our economy. And we can recession-proof this thing, guys. We can do so many things to make sure that our businesses are sustainable, that are useful, and are running no matter what happens to the economy. We have the chance to do it as a small businesses. So let's get up. Let's have some fun. Let's keep the party going. I'm going to throw some music back on for a second while I prepare you guys for the next round. I hope you enjoy it. Pay attention. All right, let's turn that music off and let's get this party started. Welcome to Coffee Tea, You and Me every Friday for the last 2 years or more, I think, since COVID started. I've been working together with entrepreneurs, business leaders, helping people start to focus on everything they have to focus on to make their businesses successful, to keep opportunities coming for them, and to do it. Now, understand, before I did this live stream every Friday afternoon, I used to sit down at my local Panera Bread and just relax and wait for anybody to show up who wanted to get some advice on how to run their business. I called it a group coaching session. And this is morphed into the show that we're going to do. And we're going to go back to the Panera Bread. In fact, I was over there a couple of days ago, and a couple of friends of mine started asking me, like, when are you coming back to Panera? When are you coming back to Panera? So I'm going to come back to Panera probably sometime in the month of October. We'll get that started again, just to let you know. And we're still going to be doing a show online. We're still going to do it online. It'll probably be, obviously, I have a much different background, much different area, because I'll be in the Panera Bread. But this will be something that we will continue to do. We'll continue to do the online version simultaneously. It's going to be a hybrid, right? So we'll have guest audiences with us as well. So you guys might have the benefit of seeing this from multiple different angles and multiple different shots and multiple different people and all kinds of good stuff. So we'll see where we go from it. But I'm definitely going to go back to it because I miss being live and actually seeing people in the audience and engaging in this way. Speaking of engagement, if you guys have any questions about anything that we're talking about today, anything you'd like to see, anything you're interested in, definitely ask the question in the chat. Feel free to be open to that. I'm going to ask you questions. And if you're watching this, I don't care if you're watching this online, if you're watching this later on as one of the recordings, feel free to continue to engage in the chat, because the chats stay open and active. So it doesn't matter whether you're watching show number 57th or show number 222. I think that's pretty much where we are right by now. Then you're going to get a chance to benefit from everything we've done, everything we share, everything we're going to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about today's topic. Today's topic is the next in a series of topics we're talking about when it comes to encouragement. And we know our first session was all about what encouragement was all about. And it gave you sort of a deep dive into encouragement. And we talked about the 3 different phases or types of encouragement that you might want to think about. We talked about support. We talked about confidence, and we talked about communication. So these are the things that we know that when we talk about support, when we talk about encouragement, we talk about the things that are important for you to have in your life, in your business, right? Encouragement falls under the umbrella. If you don't have confidence, if you don't have hope, and if you don't have the support that you need, you're not going to be encouraged. And these are so many things that you can think about and do exercises you can try to strengthen your encouragement muscles, so to speak, right? So you want to be a person, you want to be a leader, the type of leader that everybody wants to be around. You want to be the type of leader that people want to find a way for themselves to be their best selves, right? So you want to be able to give people encouragement. You want to be able to, help them understand how to be more confident in what they do, how to deliver on the hope that they can deliver on when it comes to their business or in their personal lives. You want to be able to be a support system for them, help them understand how to find the support they do need. All these things are so important. If we cannot encourage one another, then we run the risk of discouraging one another. Now, of course, the first week we talked about the overall what encouragement is all about. And then the first week, and the next week after that, we got into what support might look like. But today we're going to get into confidence and all of the permutations of confidence and why confidence is so important, why it's vital to all of our success. Because we have to be confident. We have to be confident in ourselves. We have to be confident in each other. And we have to create an environment where confidence can grow. Because when we do that, as a leader, as a performer, as a person that's involved, whether you're a stakeholder, a risk taker, or whatever you're doing when it comes to business, especially small business, wherever you find yourself entered into that, being able to manufacture, deliver, and to share confidence becomes key to your success. Because let me just give you a little sneak peek. Here's what happens when you deliver confidence well. When you create an environment of confidence, when you're able to accept the confidence that others are sharing with you, here's what happens. There's less fear and anxiety in the environment. Who could use that? Anybody want less fear, less anxiety, right? There's a greater sense of motivation and activation in anything that we're going to do. So making sure that, we have that oomph, that get up and go, that spirit of achievement, that will, that desire to keep pushing forward is very, very important. Speaking of pushing forward, the next thing that happens when you have a confident environment, an engaging environment where confidence reigns supreme, is there's more resilience. People are stronger. People are more flexible. People are better at keeping going no matter what. They're better at dealing with obstacles. They're better at handling their challenges because they have more resilience. The next thing you want to see that happens when you have a confident environment around you, not only people just encouraged overall, but they're specifically improved in the area of all kinds of relationships. So imagine an atmosphere in a situation that everybody's working together, but nobody is working against anybody else. Everybody's all in on support one another, all in on developing opportunities for one another, all in on helping each other achieve. That's a confident atmosphere. And the last thing that happens, and it happens all over the place, is people who are on a confident team where confidence is reigning supreme, and they have confident leaders, and they're confident in themselves as they approach the team. They're confident in one another. What happens is there's an authentic sense of self that cannot be achieved in any other way. you really understand who you are, you really understand what you bring to the table, and you really understand your value in the environment. Who wouldn't want that? Confidence creates all of that. Less fear, greater motivation, more resilience, improved relationships, and a stronger sense of self. We're going to get into it. We're going to take a deep dive in all of that. We're going to talk about the best definitions of confidence. We're going to talk about, the various phrases and words that ring and some of the best ideas that come from the spiritual text that we've been able to find. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that comes from the literature we've been able to find. And there's a science behind this whole confidence thing that's in relationship to competence. We're going to talk about that. And finally, we're going to wrap up and we're going to give you some exercises that you can do to grow your confidence, to help other people grow their confidence, and to grow the confident environment that you are working in, no matter what that environment is, in any place, no matter what role you play, no matter where you are, whether you're a family member, a business leader, a key member of your community, you have to be able to drive confidence. You have to be able to create it, manufacture it, send it off, and share it with other people. You got to be able to do that. When you have that skill, when you have that ability, you could be a force to be reckoned with. You could be a great dynamic player on any team. Everybody's going to want you on their team. They're going to want to collaborate with you. They're going to want to take you into their confidence. They're going to want to share things with you that they couldn't share with anybody else. And the high levels of trust come when confidence is high. All right. So before we get into that, I got to take you on a brief little commercial break. And when we come back from our commercial break, we're going to get loaded up and we're going to talk about this thing. In the meantime, again, feel free to share this opportunity with as many people as you possibly can. Post about it, tweet about it, ask questions, engage with as much as you possibly. If you have a business or you have an idea, thought, whatever, to put your name in the chat, or put your name of your company in the chat, put your website in the chat, your contact information in the chat. Make it easy for people who might want to do business with you to do business with you. Because if you go sight unseen, it won't be because Marvin wanted you to be unseen. It's because you didn't want to be seen. So definitely put your information in the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're coming from, all that kind of good stuff, so we can give you a shout out. My girl Annette's out there. I see you. Hello. She's out there. I love the little purple and gold heart, Annette. That's really cute. She's watching on Facebook, which is really wonderful. Thank you for showing up and being there for us, Annette. And again, anybody else, you have a business, you have something that you want to do, put your information in the chat. Let's make sure everybody knows how to contact you, how to reach out to you, and how to keep this thing going. Okay. Next thing we got to do is we got to go on a quick little commercial break. Check it out. Okay, we are back. I love that little commercial break. My buddy put that together for me, and it's such a great little tool that I could use and stick in here. I don't even know what they call it. It's somewhere in the publishing world. Some of you guys know what it calls it when you take a break and you have a quick little commercial. I want to know what that's called formally. So if you got an idea for me, because I can't remember, put it in the chat. That'll be a great thing for me to remember. My good friend Annette, I just want to let you guys know she's out there. She has a wonderful company called Vision of Gratitude. This is how you can get in on Vision of Gratitude. They have wonderful promotional ideas and wonderful promotional little things you can buy, little tchotchkes for different conferences and things like that you want to have. And then Annette is just a wonderful person. So if you get a chance to support her business, definitely support that business. It's going to be a great opportunity for you. And she lives to serve. So she'll do a fantastic job for you, no matter what you want. So make sure you give her a call. Check out her website. There it is, the Vision of Gratitude. All righty. Thank you so very much, Annette, for playing with us. Today, we are talking about confidence. Confidence is such a tremendous tool. Now, yes, it's a feeling. Much different than support. Support, we talked about last week, is something is something more tangible, and it's got more meat on it, and that you can definitely account for it a little bit better. But so can confidence. And we're going to talk about a little bit how you can account for confidence a little bit better. But confidence is critically important. If you want to have the benefits of confidence, which is less fear and anxiety, greater motivation, more resilience, improved relationships, and a stronger sense of your authentic self, then you're going to have to engage in the universe, in the world, maybe in different ways than you're currently engaging in. I can't tell you how many situations that I've been in my career where I've had to maintain my composure and my demeanor because that was imperative to my success. And I could not have done so if I didn't have the confidence of knowing that everything was going to be all right. I was going to be fine. Things were going to continue no matter what, and I was going to be fine, right? Whenever there's an important presentation, a deal to be closed, or potential collaboration to consider, I needed this confidence. I needed all the confidence that I could muster. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be sad or frustrated by any of the efforts about my thoughts or my talents and my abilities. And I don't want to sit around and worry that I'm not enough or I can't do it or something's going to stop me or all that kind of stuff. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to ruminate on those ideas. I mean, I want to be strong. I want to know for a fact that I can accomplish my goals and I can do so with a high level of integrity that is sustainable so that I'm never accused of anything more than having a strong moral compass and a sincere attitude to get things done the way I know they need to get done. I find that when I can do this and I do this well, not only am I confident, but I can maintain the kind of encouragement I need to maintain. I can understand better. I can protect others. And it's all of this seeks to dramatically improve my faith in myself, my conviction of my beliefs and the things that I want to do, the credibility I have in the space. And I exude all of this while still, thank God, managing to be an inspiration to those that I feel blessed to have in my life in one way or the other. Now, think about it. How horrible would life be if you really couldn't trust not just yourself, but anybody else? If you didn't have to doubt, or if you didn't distrust, or didn't have the skepticism, what could you accomplish? What could you do? No decision is good enough. No person is right enough. And every program or process is literally doomed to failure when you don't have confidence. And even the programs that actually work won't work if the energy that you put forward, that you need to put forward, it comes through with distrust or doubt or shame or fear or blame or anything that could ruin your confidence. You see, when we have the conviction to act on our beliefs, it seems like the universe itself bends to our favor. It does exactly what we want it to do. But in reality, it's our confidence that is inspiring us to get up and do what must be done. And this is what makes all the difference. It is so critical and important that we develop around us and we fight for anything that might ruin our confidence. You have to have that confidence. You have to have it in you. You have to have it around you. You have to have it in other people. And when you can do this, when you can create this environment for yourself, and you can create this environment for yourself, you can have all of those benefits that we talked about earlier. There's nothing that's going to stop you from moving forward. There's nothing that's going to make you feel like you don't deserve it, you're not worthy of it, it's not there for you. Everything will work. Here's a definition of confidence that comes from Wikipedia. Wikipedia says confidence is a state of being clear-headed, confidence is a state of being clear-headed, either that a hypothesis or prediction is correct, or that a chosen course of action is the best or most effective course of action. Confidence comes from the Latin word fidere, which means to trust. Therefore, having self-confidence is having trust in oneself. Having confidence in others is just having trust in others. And having confidence in your environment is just believing in the situation that you find yourself in. in a positive and supportive way. Okay, think about that. Here's this thing about confidence, though. There's usually evidence that will back up your confidence, or reason that will back up this feeling of confidence. Because if you have confidence and you don't have any evidence or any reason for your confidence, it's probably not really confidence. All right, people like that, people who are kind of really showy about what they think they can do, what they think they're all about, where they think they're going, what they think their lives are. And when you peel back the onion a little bit, and you ask them, well, why do you think that you could do this, or why do you think this is going to happen for you? They really don't have anything to come up with. They just go, I just know it, right? That's not confidence. That's hubris. That's ego. That's pride. But it's not confidence. You see, confidence requires that you have a clear head. It requires that even if you're making a hypothesis or a prediction, it is correct. And in order for it to be correct, there must be some evidence or some reason that it is correct. This is why when you have confidence, you people say, you're legitimate, right? You have legitimate proof or confirmation as to why you feel the way you feel about the talents and abilities of yourself or others. Now, I love this part. When you can provide documentation or a testimonial, or maybe a positive experience about somebody else or something that you've experienced, overall, the confidence in that thing or that person or that event or that environment rises. And why not think about creating for yourself a confidence approval rating? Think about what it takes for you to be confident in something, right? For you to be confident in something and give it your confidence approval rating. And what will you be willing to do if that approval rating goes from like 1 to 10, or from 7 to 5, or whatever it is, the approval rating can go up and down, right? Think about like a presidential approval rating. What is it that what feedback do you need to have in order to give yourself a confidence approval rating that's higher than the one you currently assess yourself at? What do you need to see in other people to give them a higher confidence approval rating? What kind of feedback do you need to see from them? What kind of performance do you need to see from them? What kind of reactions do you need to see from them? All of these things we find improve the general confidence level that we might have in ourselves, in the individuals, or in the environments that we're in. It's all about performance. Seeing what's happening, understanding why what's happening is happening, and being able to articulate those things are important to be able to deliver on the confidence model, on being able to give ourselves that confidence that we need. Now, the more significant and purposeful we are in our contributions to help others become more confident, it turns out that it works out to our favor in the end. So the more we give confidence to other people, the more we share confidence with other people, the more we are generating and creating confidence in other people, the more that comes back to us that helps us in a big way. You see, because here's the reason. And before we get into the reason, I want to make sure I give a quick check-in with everybody. Everybody okay? Everybody good? Anybody have any questions about what we've talked about so far when it comes to confidence and how important confidence is to developing your skills, your talents, your abilities, and then exercising and utilizing the skills and talents and abilities of others, how important it is for us to get involved with that. Because we'll talk a little bit about that moving forward. If you have any questions, again, put that information in the chat. If you want to engage in any way, again, the chat is where you do it. Okay. And be careful about that, by the way, because just because you put information in the chat doesn't mean I'm going to respond to it. Because a lot of times I'm not available and you're watching the recording. But if you put the information in the chat, there might be some other people who might come in and respond to your information. That's how you create social engagement. That's how you create social movement. And so don't feel like you don't have anything to add. I'm sure you have something to add. So post the information in the chat. If you've ever felt like you've had some confidence in somebody or some confidence in a situation, it's a good opportunity for you to put that in the chat and share with other people why you believe that that's an important thing. You're not going to miss anything by doing that, right? You can always go back and watch the recording later on if you want to see more about this. Okay, so believing in yourself and others. That's why confidence is so important. Because what it turns out is confidence connects us all. And it doesn't matter who's giving or who's on the giving end of the confidence or on the receiving end on the confidence. Because the communal benefits of a confident environment affects us all. One of the reasons why we generate the results of everything we do is simply because we believe that we can. And therefore, we are then determined to do so. This kind of, and I'm going to call this foundational faith, combined with a strong resolve, right, which means some discipline has to be involved. This can be so contagious that other people that we work with, that talk to, be around, they start to believe and act as well. Pretty soon, you've started something that's so collective and so powerful that you couldn't stop it even if you tried. This is how all the greatest movements of people have all started, all throughout human history. It's always been one person who can brilliantly articulate the reason why they're going to engage in some idea, some concept, some thought process, and they're asking for others to join them, to be a part of it. They're making a movement, right? I call them movement makers. Movement makers like my fraternity brother, God rest his soul, brother John Lewis, who's a congressman. And Congressman Lewis would always encourage us to get into good trouble, right? Much like he did on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, when he and a lot of his cohorts, and they were leaders of SNCC at the time, decided that they were going to march for freedom. Even though on the other side of that bridge, trying to keep them from making that march, were armed and mounted police who assaulted them. And they called that Bloody Sunday. But that was the good trouble that John got into over and over and over and over and over again. Because he believed. He believed in himself. He believed in others. And he believed in the cause, the righteous cause of what him and the other freedom marchers were doing, what they were all about. And they were able to change this world. One state at a time, one county at a time, one city at a time, and finally the nation. Now, we're still in the struggle for civil rights in a big way. But confidence has a lot to do with our ability to either speed up the pace by which we create change or slow it down. And so the higher level our confidence collectively in the community is, the faster we can move things, the faster we can make things happen. The Bible says this. In the book of Philemon, it says, "For I have derived much joy and comfort from your love, my brother, because the hearts of the saints have been refreshed through you." You see, confidence and confident people get to breathe this rare air until some idiot comes along and messes the whole thing up, right? But it makes you and your business able to forgive yourself and others their past indiscretions and never be a confidence killer. You don't want to do that for anyone, for anything else ever again in life. I know that it's fun and it's interesting to do things like gossip about people and talk about what they've done or how stupid they were or how funny they were. I know it can actually be fun and a little bit of a reward socially to be able to put somebody else down and get a laugh, right? I get that. But it's not necessarily a useful benefit to you. You say, the quote that I just read you before was a quote that came out of the writing of St. Paul, who at the time was writing the people of Philemon, the leaders of Philemon, to try to keep them encouraged. He was writing specifically about the case of one gentleman named Onesimus, who was probably an escaped slave that was then returned to the people that he escaped from. And St. Paul wanted him to be treated fairly. St. Paul wanted him to be treated like every other Christian, at the time. And so he wrote that letter. And again, let me remind you what he said. He told the people of Philemon, I have derived much joy and comfort from your love, my brother, because the hearts of the saints have been refreshed through you. He was reminding them to treat Onesimus, who was a escaped slave, the same way that they treated him. Because that's the most appropriate way to handle other people. So my suggestion to you is, no matter the transgression or wrongdoing that a person has done, we should be careful not to demean or demoralize them. Ever. Right? When we are forced to deal with corrective or rehabilitative situations, as we often are in our society, we should show the strength of character to live in a way that we want to preserve the decency and the respect of every individual at all times. And that's a challenge. I know it's a challenge for a lot of people because it's very difficult to forgive. It's very difficult to separate, in the old term, the sin from the sinner. Right? It's very difficult to turn the other cheek. It's very difficult to walk away from a challenge, especially when our ego gets involved, and sometimes we feel like we have to protect ourselves, but we don't have to, because great minds throughout the years have always said things about confidence. They've always shared, from Poe to Sartre, that we need to be careful about how we treat each other and how we have the confidence in our friends sometimes and our associates sometimes without even proper evidence or reason to do so. All right. And this is largely because we believe the stories that other people tell us about other people, especially the negative ones. And when those negative stories are on repeat, constantly and continually in the news, and they're buzzing in our ear, this negativity, and we hear it over and over and over again, it's easy to then believe it. It's easy then, because we're so bombarded with this negativity, it's easy for us to go into this downward mental and emotional spiral of pessimism and sarcasm. It's just, it helps us land in a bad place no matter what. I mean, I literally feel sorry for the people who got sucked up into the incursion, what do they call that? Whatever happened at the Capitol building on January 6th, I think it was, last year. It's crazy, right? Those people actually believe that somehow they were doing the right thing in that moment by ascending on the Capitol of the United States of America, threatening the members of Congress in that day or during that day with violence. I'm at a loss for how anybody can, but I realize if you've been fed this negative news over and over and over again, and you've gotten together collectively in a society and you begin to talk about it amongst each other and validate each other's thoughts about this over and over and over again, pretty soon you guys are up to stuff and you think you're fighting the righteous cause, and there may be no way to talk you out of it. But the reality is, you're just being destructive. You're just abandoning the opportunity to work together to build a better situation. You're making it difficult for that to happen, and you're creating divisiveness and evil intent. Now, I'm a big believer in my Christian faith, and I read the Bible. And I take the Bible, though, and I look at it as sort of an ancient text that gives us a snapshot into how people were thinking in the time that it was written, right? And so I think it's a very, very important document to know and understand. And here's what the ancient text says, that people of faith, and it shares this clearly in many different passages, people of faith have always encouraged each other by giving each other the confidence they needed to thrive. The good book reminds us that God himself will strengthen those that he has chosen. And through the belief in him, that they might have access and availability to be empowered and inspire all mankind. What's not to be confident in when you know you got a big brother on your side who is omnipotent, who could do anything with the choice? Wouldn't that inspire you to be confident if you had that kind of faith and that belief that somehow everything was going to work to your favor, everything was going to work to your good, even when you can't necessarily see all of the right roads and all of the right ways? You imagine how helpful and useful it would be, how less fearful one would be. Well, it turns out when your beliefs are trusted and practiced appropriately and regularly, the intending increase in your faith grants you the gift of power, of love, and of self-control. You got to carefully nurture this thing, though. There's a combination of prayer and meditation and mindfulness and careful contemplation, right? All of this is a part of how you access those parts of the spiritual world that we tend to take for granted or ignore. But if you do this right, not only will you be blessed, but you'll be blessed continually. And you won't have a reason to hurt or fear or doubt. Now, there's a science behind this all that I've discovered that I want to share with you all. And for those of you all who take a deep dive with me later on as I complete this journey on discovering on all things encouragement, there's a diagram that I'm going to share with you guys. And the diagram is sort of like a regular kind of quadrant. And it has, it's a paradigm quadrant, we call them. And on one side is relationships, on the other side is competence. But I want you to understand that these things are directly proportional to one another, right? The quality of your relationships has much to do with your confidence in another person as the competence that other person has, or group or team. So as your quality relationship goes up and the level of competence that you recognize goes up, then you have a higher level of confidence, right? And sort of goes like this. And I'll just read this to you. And then, if you have any questions, we'll talk about it a little later on. In the first phase of the block, there's high relationships and low competence. So where it says high relationships and low competence leads to a moderate level of confidence. In the next box, there's low relationships and low competence. When low relationships and low competence leads to low confidence. And number 3, the third box over, there's low relationships still, and there's higher levels of competence. But low relationships and high levels of competence lead to only moderate confidence again. Now, in order to get to high levels of competence or confidence in a situation, you have to have both a high quality relationship and a high level of competence working together to create an environment of the greatest amount of confidence. That's the science behind confidence. So when you think about something that you don't have confidence in, or someone that you don't have confidence in, is it because you don't have a high quality relationship, or is it because somehow there's a level of incompetence that you need to understand, or do you need a level of competence you don't understand? You need to figure out how it is competent, how it is good, how it is working, what is working about it. And as you find out what is working about it, right, you see that, wait a minute, there are some things that are working. Even in a bad situation, there's some things that are working. There's some good that's going on. There's some good people involved. There's some good activity going on. There's some good ideas that are maybe lying dormant that people can wake up. And then you start to realize there's a whole lot of competence just laying around that nobody's accessing. You start accessing that competence, and all of a sudden relationships improve. Relationships improve. Now you got improved relationships, improved competence. You got a higher level of confidence. Now I know you understand that it's going to make perfect sense to you, but if you see the diagram, it all kind of works. I'm an egghead when it comes to this kind of stuff, and it's super important though, because again, developing and practicing a greater understanding in relationship to the relationship competence paradigm helps you to massively improve self-confidence, increase expectations, set greater goals, develop more assertive communications, and improve the way criticism and feedback are handled. It becomes imperative to our ability to just move forward in business and in life. And the exercises that I've just shared with you, or understanding I just shared with you, will help you do that. But even more so, the exercises that I'm about to share with you. And I'm going to blow through these really quickly because I'm moving through some time, but I want to get these out there for you. There's some clear exercises that you can do to develop a confident environment, confident self-confidence, and confidence in other people. Number one, understanding that fear and anxiety gives you the groundswell, about what hope and determination is all about. If you have too much fear and anxiety, then you're done. So you have to get rid of that. You have to figure out the things you need to do to manage and mitigate fear and anxiety so that you can create more confidence, right? So obviously, the more you learn about how your industry or chosen profession actually works, the less fear and anxiety you have because you have knowledge. You have knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom supersedes fear and anxiety and helps to create more confident, more decisive action. So do what you can to study, do what you can to read, do what you can to just gobble up and access information and content as much as you possibly can. Read, listen, watch videos, whatever you got to do to get that confidence up, because once you get that confidence up, now you can receive all the benefits that confidence can give you. Now you also have to understand that distrust and skepticism is real, right? And there's some way that it affects you. And in order for you to get out of that feeling, or help someone else get out of that feeling of distrust and skepticism, what's required is practice and repetition. It's a development of muscle memory, right? Around the things that you don't trust it, but not trusting it isn't serving you. It's only slowing you down, and especially in an area where if you did trust it, you can move forward, right? So you have to practice slowly. So dip your toe in the water, right? You dip your little pinky toe in the water and give it a little small amount of trust. And then as you give it a small amount of trust and that comes back positive, then give it a more trust. And this is, you got to keep doing this and keep doing it. Repeat, rinse, wash, repeat, rinse, wash, and keep doing it until you have a high level of trust in whatever it is you currently don't have a high level of trust in. Again, this will help you not just in trusting systems and organizations that you belong to or are committed to somehow, some way you work in, but also will help you to improve your personal relationships, right? Along with testing the boundaries of that relationship to see where you can actually have trust and trust that you can respect and appreciate, right? In displaying your talent, again, in little ways, you can improve the trust that people have in you, because as people see your talents and they see your gifts, they can see your character, not just your competence, but your character and your competence, because that's what's required to develop a full level of trust. The fourth exercise I would suggest is one that I use all the time. I like to share whatever I learn, wherever I learn it from, wherever I'm studying, whatever I'm working on, researching, all the content that I produce for you guys, I like to share. I share it because it makes me sharper. I share it because it makes me better, not because I want to brag or I want to get in my ego or anything like that. I know that the more I explain to other people how the universe works or how systems work or how ideas and concepts work together, the more ingrained I am with those beliefs and those ideas and those concepts, and the better I perform at everything that I have to perform, which makes me a great coach. You know, I'm not one of these guys who can just sit and listen to a lecture for hours and hours and hours over and over again, pass the test and keep going. No. I have to have it ingrained into my DNA. And so that's how I learn by sharing. It's very important. The last and the fifth exercise I want to leave you is to examine yourself, right? Examine your life, especially the places where you feel awkward or a little inept. You know, do a SWOT analysis, do it, whatever analysis you want to do. Find out what you think your weaknesses are and ask yourself, are these weaknesses real in that they could stop me from moving forward? Because some weaknesses are just weaknesses and it's okay, you can accept them. But if you have a weakness that's going to stop you from moving forward, you got to figure out how to deal with that. Either you're going to pass that off to somebody else, and that means you have to develop a relationship, or you're going to develop the skill, the talent, the ability to handle it yourself, which means you have to develop competence. Either way, you still got to get good at both, because you're going to bump into something that you literally can't do but need to do. In that case, you're going to have to find people that you have high quality relationships with. And there is no getting out of that. because you'll never be competent in something that you have no passion around, that you're not willing to exercise the discipline required or have the resources to do so in any way of any length of time that's going to be useful. And so you want to make sure, because you just simply can't do everything. Get your friends in order, get your network in order, get your business in order, and that will help you promulgate whatever you want to promulgate. All right, I hope you had a great time. I'm going to close the concept down for today because I'm headed on 50 minutes here. But it's been great. It's been wonderful. I love doing this. I'm going to continue to do this. Again, we're going to go back live, in a hybrid, shall I say. So we're still going to do the online streaming program, but we're actually going to go back and probably in the month of October. But I'll let all of you guys know all about that before I make it happen. I love you. Thank you very much for showing up. Thank you for being here. And I appreciate your time, your effort, your energy. And I hope that you continue to play with us. Welcome to Coffee Tea, You and Me. And I hope the party will never end for you, because it's not going to end for me. I got that confidence. All right, guys, you have a good one. Bye-bye.